Today's matchup between the visiting Cheverus Stags and your Brunswick Dragons. Along with Brunswick High School requested all people in attendance in today's game abide by the principles of good sportsmanship. The athletes on the ice will be giving their best efforts. We ask that you give your positive support. Help make today's game enjoyable for everyone in attendance, especially the people around you. At this time, we would like to introduce the starting lineups. First for the Stags. At defense, the junior number 10, Grace Townsend. At defense, the senior number 6, Briella Doty. At forward, a junior number 28, Abby Titus. At forward, the sophomore number 3, Jaylee Radford. At forward, a senior number 2, Scotty Moxley. And in goal for the Stags, the senior number 35, Ellie Skolnekovic. And coach of Cheverus is Scott Russo. And now, the starting lineup for your Brunswick Dragons. At defense, a junior number 11, Maine. At defense, a senior number 18, Sydney Parent. At center, a senior captain number 6, Natalie Parent. At left wing, a senior captain number 17, Jillian Company. And at right wing, a senior captain number 14, Solveig. Dragons, a senior number 30, Ensley Laponte. The head coach of the Dragons, Bruce Ledwick, and athletic training services are provided by Krista Henry. We'd like to remind fans, coaches, and players that all sports around our state are enabled officials. We expect our officials to be treated with respect by everyone in attendance as they have given their time tonight to ensure our players can play. Thank you for your cooperation and support. The Brunswick Dragons girls ice hockey team would like to thank today's presenting sponsor, Will Dodge Auto Group. You can find Will Dodge Auto Group and all of the other local businesses that are sponsoring the team in the program booklet. Pick up a copy of the Snack Shack when you stop by. All proceeds from the Snack Shack will go directly to the team. Now would you all please stand and remove your hats for the singing of the national anthem by the Brunswick High School Choir.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the beautiful Sidney J. Watson Arena at Bowdoin College for a rematch of the state championship in February of 2025 between the Brunswick Dragons and the Stags of Cheverus, Wyndham, and one player from Madomic being Grace Townsend.
Yeah, it's a pretty much Cheverus-dominated team here, and Cheverus has taken the last two matchups we've seen between these two teams, but they've all been close games. Of course, a 2-1 loss in the state championship for Brunswick, sadly, and then in preseason, the Stags won in a 4-3 thriller in which Ledwick scored all 3 goals for the Dragons. So no matter the outcome tonight, it's going to be a good matchup. This is the last home game of the Dragons, and therefore the last home game of many seniors on this Dragons team. I think there's going to be a lot of hard play from these Dragons tonight. They're going to want to win their last home game.
Yeah, I agree. I would agree that they're going to want to win their last home game. But they will play Greeley, Grey New Gloucester, and then another team. And then they finish out with Yarm Freeport. Then it's Edward Little after Greeley, Grey New Gloucester, and then Yarm Freeport. And then I'll do it for the regular season. They're currently 8-6 Cavs. They had a poor run of losing 4 of 5 games, and then they bounced back with 2 consecutive wins, 6-0 over Falmouth Scarborough, and then 1-0 over Winslow Meso last week. But here on the day that we celebrate and honor Martin Luther King Jr., we have a doubleheader of hockey. After this game, the Brunswick boys ice hockey team will play against Gardner Winslow Co-op. That'll be at about 6:45 or whenever this one comes to an end. Puck is won first by Cheverus and now knocked up the ice for Parham to collect. Pressured by Titus, she'll feed it across there. Radford nearly got to it for the Stags. Ledwick will collect in the defensive zone. Off the boards for Parham. These teams have faced twice this season already. They faced in the preseason where Cheverus won 4-3. Dragons had 3 goals from Solveig Ledwick that game. And then one regular season matchup where Cheverus won 3-1 off of 1 goal by Jillian Countway for the Dragons. And they will send on their second line of forwards with Jerome and Livesey and Flynn. Of course, Ryan Livesey is on our scoreboard today, sponsored by Singer Domingo Portside Real Estate. Into the zone. That was deflected off of Vital's skate. Would have been a nice opportunity for Joey Pompeo in the middle for the Stags.
Robert, I like to say Pompeo. You know, it might be Pompeo, it might be Pompeo, but I just like Pompeo. Just sounds like pretty cool. That was a good defensive stand there by Delia Vital as number 21, Joey Pompeo was wide open in front of the net.
Well, Pompeo will send it around to Vital. Vital guarded by Pompeo. And will send it off the glass and into the offensive zone. Will be frozen by Skolnekovic. I believe Lucas wanted to collect that puck, but it will be an offensive zone face-off for Brunswick.
Yeah, that's not the best move right there from Cheverus. I think had they not frozen that, Lucas could have picked it up right there, and they could have made something of it. The Dragons were mid-sub, so there was no pressure really coming. But I think they could have turned that into something better than what they got out of it.
Parham will win the draw here to Ledwick in the slot. She'll backhand it towards the net, deflected off the skate of Lucas. Knocked around by Sydney Parham to be collected by Cheverus. Titus will look up ice to Radford. Battle along that wall. Donahue will knock it back to be collected by Lucas for Cheverus. Ledwick knocks it around. She'll collect behind the net. Solveig Ledwick will now wrap around, and it nearly went in, but somehow Skolnekovic kept it out. I thought we were going to see an early goal here, Kaz.
Yeah, Ledwick loves that wraparound goal there. She's had a couple of them this season, and I'll agree with you there. I genuinely thought that puck was in the net, but big stand from Cheverus.
It would be a surprise if the Dragons scored in the first period, Kaz. They are now scoreless in the last 7 consecutive first periods. Yeah,
I mean, that's not great, but they have been strong in the second period this season, Rob, and that's almost balanced it out.
They do sit at 8-6 and third in the southern or the northern region. Now we're going to have an opening penalty. Who will it be against? Looks like it's going to be against the Dragons, as we have no whistle. Delayed penalty here. A chance up ice for Logan Curry into the zone. Curry tries to get around McCormick, centering pass. Ledwick just has to touch it to begin the penalty kill, and she does.
I believe it's going to be on Jillian Countway.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, it will be.
That is going to be her team leading. Well, they made me change it to penalty minutes. It's going to be her 37th minute. That's her 19th penalty. No. She's had 1 major, so that's 16, so 17th penalty of the season this is going to be. I would rather have penalty minutes and penalties to say it, but that will get her up to 37 penalty minutes on the year. Along the wing, collected to the wing. We'll see this Cheverus power play for the first time. Here's Townsend below the blue line. And this is what I'm saying. Ryan Livesey did not put the power play up on the scoreboard when I specifically told him to do that because he's focused on the other stuff in the box. And it's just a travesty to you guys at home. I just like to apologize for the actions of Ryan.
Yeah, he's a good hockey player apparently, but scoreboard's not for everybody. It's a tough job.
Shot save Levante.
Oscar Gardside is actually is particularly good at it.
Well, maybe we can, Liv's doing a tough job. He is in the box with Ethan Patterson as well as running our scoreboard. Here's Townsend, high slot, Schulfire, save Labonte. Rebound, though, backhand, again stopped by Labonte. No freeze. 55 seconds left on that power play. Townsend knocks around. This Dragon penalty kill, of course, is the strength of their team. They've killed 43 of 44 penalties this year.
So they've killed a total of 86 penalty minutes this year.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Townsend will leave it off. Doherty back to Townsend. She will fire. It's deflected and goes in the back of the net. The announcers jinx as the Dragons allow their second power play goal on the season. 1-0 Stags.
Rob, we are really hitting a bad streak here of announcer jinxes. We've had like 3 or 4 in the last 2 or 3 games here. Keeps happening.
I mean, this Livesey guy, we're just gonna. Again, I can't get mad at him, but he said that he was gonna be able to do both at once.
Yeah, now he's looking at his scoreboard there, and I think he started the clock. He did. That's good. He's just he's new to it. He's new to it.
Parham in the defensive zone. We'll backhand it looking for Saavedra. Donahue will knock it up ice for Parham, or Saavedra. Again, sorry. Donahue will clear it, and that will be an icing and a offensive zone face-off for Cheverus.
That's not the start the Dragons were hoping for. Obviously, it's an early strike from the Stags. And other bad news, the Dragons' hunting season is over in Maine, so can't shoot stags anymore.
Parham loses the draw here. Titus will collect behind the net for Cheverus. Parham centering pass, looking for Ledwick. Turning it over here to Titus. Schulfire, glove save by Labonte. Parham will look to clear. Can't leave it off for Ledwick, and Ledwick will kick it up ice. Nice play to Parham. Parham enters the zone. Will cut back along the wing. Schulfire centering for Ledwick. Save made and frozen by Skolnekovic.
Yeah, that shot never looked like it had too much of a chance, but it's great that the Dragons get an offensive zone faceoff out of that. Yeah, Skolnekovic just hooked it in with her stick and then gloved it.
Parham will. Here's a pass back to Ledwick from Countway. Schulfire over the net. That is a very nice set play there off the faceoff. The tie-up by Natalie Parham. Countway comes in to collect the puck. Pass back to Ledwick. Open in the high slot. I love that look, Kaz.
I do too, and it was pretty cool to see Countway hop the goalie after. I don't know if she hopped the entire goalie, but she took a nice big hop on those skates, which is something you don't see all that often.
Here's Doherty, will fire towards the net, blocked by Ledwick. Ledwick releasing up ice is Countway, and she'll collect it. Jillian Countway into the zone, has it stolen by Doherty. And the Dragons will get a full change with their second line of forwards coming out, this time Flynn, Livesey, and Jerome.
It's amazing. Livesey is simultaneously skating on the ice and working the scoreboard.
And that's 2 scoreboards at once as well. Our BHSN scoreboard and the jumbotron in the building.
It's remarkable, Robert. It's truly magnificent.
Pompeo loses it. Here is Taylor Lucas, though, for Cheverus. Will knock it around the back wall, and Stags get a bit of a chance. Livesey off the wall. Flynn will send it up the ice for another icing.
Yeah, and Dragons it's gonna be crucial here for the Dragons to not allow another goal in this period. That would be really heartbreaking. They allowed 3 goals in the first game, or 4 goals in the first game and 3 in the second. So as long as they can hold them to 1 here, I think they need to score, and then they'll be okay.
Lamonte freezes it, and it will be back-to-back O-zone face-offs. Evan, are you currently doing the scoreboard and filming? That's just great stuff. Eben White on our camera as well as the scoreboard now. Titus has that one blocked. Ledwick will collect, sends it up the ice for Countway, but it's picked off by Lucas. Would have been a nice opportunity for Countway. Karam will send it up the ice, collected by Cheverus. Townsend across to Doherty. And a chance here with Buxton into the zone. Buxton off the back wall for Titus. Titus backhands it around, and Karam will collect for Brunswick. Shots on goal, led by Cheverus right now, 7-3. Pompeo into the zone. No offside. Ledwick back to Parham. Parham will give it up to her twin sister. And now Parham up, caught by Countway into the zone. High circle, Schulfire, it's deflected, save made by Skolnekovic. Ledwick will give it back around as Countway will skate off. McCormick will knock the puck back. Ledwick collects in the neutral zone. She'll fire it on net, gloved by Skolnekovic, and gets a change.
It's an underrated ability that Ledwick has to just fire it from beyond the blue line and have the keeper have to glove it. It just wins them an offensive zone faceoff every time. It's very, very efficient.
There is Jerome along goal line extended. Up ice, a chance with Logan Curry into the zone. Gets around Vital. Curry will fire. Save made by Labonte on the breakaway. Good job by her to stand tall in net. Logan Curry, the leading goal scorer for Cheverus. She has 14 goals and 5 assists. Joey Pompeo also has 19 points, but 8 goals and 11 assists for her.
None of them has as many goals as Solveig Ledwick does. What is her season total up to 25, Robert?
Yeah, it's going to be 25 goals and 3 assists. The former leads all of Maine in girls hockey. Honestly, she could have more than any boys hockey player, too. I would not be surprised, since girls hockey does start earlier. Yeah, she most certainly has more goals than any boys hockey player as well. I will assume that. Might have to get that fact checked, but yeah, maybe she has more than any NESCAC hockey player as well. Yeah, let's say she has the most goals of any hockey player in Maine at the moment. Probably
the most goals in New England, honestly.
We'll have to check on James Hagan's stats at BC. But 25 goals sounds like a lot. It's hard for me to imagine that James Higgins has 25 goals this year.
Probably the most on the Atlantic coast. I mean, all the way down. I mean, they're not playing that much hockey in Florida, so it kind of lightens the load a little bit.
Ledwick will try to make it 26 goals and will knock it into the netting off the shoulder of Skolnekovic.
I think we're going to add the Midwest into this category. I think we're going to go the whole country, actually. You know what? Nationwide.
Well, think about it. The only other nation that would have a chance is Canada, right? So probably has the most goals in the world this season.
Don't they play hockey in Russia, like a lot?
Yeah, a lot in Russia and actually all over Europe. Switzerland, Norway, Finland. But I bet she has more than all of them.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine like any of them having more.
Collected by Logan Curry. Up ice she goes. Gets around Livesey. Curry has speed into the offensive zone. Gets around Parham as well and will look to put a shot on, but she falls. I think she's going to get Parham for a trip there. Able to draw the penalty, and Parham and Countway, of course, the two leaders in penalties for the Dragons. Parham will collect her 12th penalty. I'm going to have to change this back from penalty minutes. I have to see the amount instead of, but she has 22 penalty minutes this year. I'll get that changed during the period, Kaz.
I'll do a dash. I'll just do a dash right now. I'll go through it quickly.
All right.
I know Jillian. We only have one major penalty, Jillian, this year,
so
right?
She's at 17. Yeah. But before this game, so just put 16. McCormick will clear the zone. The Dragons now, I will say it again, 43 of 45 on the penalty kill this year.
We'll take penalty on number 18, Sydney Parham, 2 minutes for tripping.
It is a tripping minor on Sydney Parham. Cross ice here with Curry in the zone. Curry leaves it off for Pompeo. She'll fire over the net. Battle here in the corner to kill some time on this power play. Thank you, Evan, for throwing that on the scoreboard, of course, sponsored by Signature on Portside Real Estate. That shot hits the outside of the net with Briella Doherty, who had the open look. Now back to Doherty. It's deflected off Vital and wide. McCormick in the corner. Doherty collects once again for Cheverus. Along the wing, caught now up here to Townsend. Thank you, Kaz, for doing that. Shot saved by Labonte. It trickles in the back of the net. A goal by Logan Curry. Once again, the leading goal scorer already for Cheverus adds another.
That's an unfortunate one there. That's just one that managed to sneak by the goalie. It's going to put Cheverus ahead by 2. At least the penalty will come off now, and we'll be back to 5-on-5 hockey for the girls.
Yeah, we really did curse them, Kaz, just calling the penalty kill, of course, one of the best penalty kills in the state, and they have now allowed 2 goals on both of their 2 power plays for Cheverus. That was, of course, our fault for jinxing it, so we can safely say it's not the players' fault at all. It's all our fault. Right, Kaz?
Trickles towards Labonte. She will initially have it come off the stick, but does manage to freeze it, and the Dragons will have to defend the offensive zone faceoff for Cheverus here.
Parham will take the draw up against Scotland Buxton, a senior from Cheverus. Donahue will try to clear, but it's blocked by Titus.
Robert, what song was that just came on?
Paint It Black by the Rolling Stones.
Right. I'm going to add that to my Spotify like songs real quick.
Yeah, go ahead. Ethan Patterson, of course, has just an excellent playlist that he plays during each girls' hockey game that he does work from the PA box. Really just a great playlist. The games are just not the same without them. Of course, we did have the band last week here as well. That was some pretty good music too, but you really need both to make it a whole experience.
Yeah, I think Patterson's got a good playlist down there. You know, he's doing good work. Solid PA announcer.
Turned over here with Curry. Curry has a 2-on-1 with Pompeo to her right. Tries to get around Vital. That's just a great defensive play by Vital. Curry, I would have probably tried to look for that 2-on-1 pass to Pompeo, but unable to get it there due to Vital. Livesey will try to clear.
I think Vital is the best shorthanded defender on this Dragons team. She is, whenever there's a breakaway, 1-on-2, 1-on-3 against Vital, she consistently is shutting them down.
McCormick will try to get through the poke check of Pompeo and does. McCormick, strong piece of puck handling as she will fire it wide. Collected by Grace Townsend. We'll send it around here with Taylor Lucas of Cheverus. Lucas will knock it up the ice, caught by Vital for Brunswick. Vital off the glass for Countway. Countway will knock into Lucas and continue to fight along the boards. Parham backhands it from her knees into the offensive zone. Parham back into the offensive zone for Brunswick. Townsend collects along her own back wall. Ledwick tries to get the turnover for Brunswick. Sent up the ice by Buxton, and racing after is Titus with speed. Titus gets underneath Donahue, a backhand saved by Labonte.
Man, Titus missed, but she had Buxton wide open in the middle there for a tap in. Had she successfully, seen and made that pass, we may be in a 3-0 situation here.
Good call there, Kaz. Big collision here. Countway will knock down Buxton. That did appear to be completely clean, I must say.
Yeah, Countway, that's not surprising for her to do that. She's pretty consistently on the end of most, rough interactions on this team.
Parham will collect here with 20 seconds to go. Leaves it off for Ledwick. Maybe one last chance for the Dragon offense, but Ledwick will just send it up the ice and wide for an icing.
Dragon's going to have 12 seconds here to shut down the final, what we can only presume to be the final play of the period here. It's going to be an offensive zone face-off for Cheverus. I personally have a lot of belief in them that they will stop this and not go down 3-0. I don't know about you, Rob, but I think they're going to expertly defend this.
Parham will lose the draw, but turned over here to Countway with 7 seconds. Townsend will collect in neutral zone. One last chance here for Radford. Won't fall. And the Dragons will be down 2-0 heading into the second period, and they have now failed to score in the first period in 8 consecutive games.
Yeah, no bueno. No bueno, Robert. There is a strong chance that they have a powerful second period, which is what they've done all season, is kind of watch the first period and then come roaring back in the second. So this doesn't worry me too much. It's similar to watching a Bears football game and seeing that they're down 40 at the half. Obviously, they didn't do too hot last night, but yeah, you're not that concerned about things.
It's a very interesting dichotomy because the girls hockey team does have a better record than the boys, sitting at 8-6 compared to the boys 2-5. But the boys team has actually scored in the first period of all 7 of their games.
Yeah, different strokes for different folks. Different ways to win games. That's all I've got to say about that. I think we're gonna go ahead and end it there, and we'll see you back here in about. Actually, you know what, Robert? We haven't done the Zamboni thing in a little while. How about we go? We want to go ahead and do that?
Oh yeah, what is a Zamboni, Kaz?
A Zamboni, it's a Jeep with a superstructure that will scrape the ice and sprinkle the surface with water so that in just 7 minutes, a fresh coating of ice is provided.
Because of course, Kaz, you do not actually skate on ice. Rather, you skate on water that is created when the friction of your metal blade against the ice creates enough heat to melt the ice and create water, and that's what allows you to slide.
Yeah, and if you do that too much, it turns into you just get a lot of snow on the ice, and all of a sudden you can't really get moving that fast.
No, just too much friction.
Way too much friction.
So we are currently watching that Jeep with the superstructure smooth out the ice and give some more water, which will then freeze and then create a much less frictionful surface. Frictionful.
Fricked, I think is the word.
Well, we thank you for joining us here on Brunswick High Sports Network. Eben White on the camera and the scoreboard, sponsored by Singer & Mingo Portside Real Estate. Kosinski and Robert Bowen on the microphone, and you will hear Kosinski in the second period for some play-by-play commentary. Brunswick trails 2-0 to Cheverus.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to Sidney J. Watson Arena for the second period of action here in this girls hockey match. This is the first of our two tonight. We have the Brunswick Dragons taking on the Stags of Cheverus now, and then the boys taking on the Garden or something or others later. I'm not entirely aware of their mascot. Tigers? We're going to go with Tigers. Girls currently trailing 2-0. Robert, what do we got to say?
Well, Kaz, the power play is obviously what won that period for Cheverus. 2 penalties by the Dragons, 2 penalty leaders in Jillian Countway and Sydney Parham. And then the Cheverus power play went and scored on both attempts. 2/3 of the Dragons' power play goals they've allowed all year came in that first period.
Yeah, it's an impressive stat for all of their games, but for this one, it's kind of disappointing to hear that. Dragons are going to start out with only 3 players on the ice. A bold move. That will be quickly adjusted as McCormick and Vital will now head out there. We're going to start out with Countway, Natalie Parham, Solveig Ledwick, and then McCormick and Vital in defense. Cheverus comes out with Scotland Buxton, with Briella Doherty, Grace Townsend, Jaylee Radford, and to round things off nicely, Abigail Titus. We're going to get a frozen puck by Ali Skolnikovich and an offensive zone faceoff for the Brunswick Dragons. Not the worst thing that's ever happened in there.
Yeah, the Dragons do love to score in the first 30 seconds of the second period, so maybe they will net one here, but faceoff is won by Cheverus.
Yeah, I think even more specifically there, Solveig Ledwick loves to score in the first 30 seconds of that opening period. But it does not seem to be happening here, as we would need a full court 2016 YouTube video thumbnail goal to score there, and it won't end up happening. Vital will collect it behind her own net. She will enter the defensive zone of Brunswick, crosses up, rounds one player, intercepted by Pompeo. Joey Pompeo knocks it ahead, but McCormick scoops it up. Now she rounds her own net and sends it off the boards. Cheverus Ashley Cloutier falls on it. Oh dear, Taylor Lucas off the boards. Pompeo now.
Cloutier, come on. Cloutier.
It's Cartier though for the fashion brand, so Cloutier sounds almost like Cartier.
Well, saved by Labonte, and she'll freeze it.
We're gonna get an offensive zone faceoff now for the Stags as Parham and Donahue will take over for McCormick and Vital, and Livesey, Flynn, and Jerome will take over for the offensive line.
The offensive line?
I mean, what do you want to call it, Rob? The attacking line?
The forward line.
The forward line? I mean, what would you say they're more offensive or defensive?
Offensive.
So is the offensive line really that heinous?
No.
Thank you. Number 5, Logan Curry now rounds the net. She is their leading scorer on the season with 14 goals, and I believe another one today.
That would be right.
So her tally will be up to 15 on the season, which is that's a good mark.
Did you use a calc for that?
I did not, no. I was able to mental math that one out thanks to the one and only Sandra Dolan of Brunswick High School, who has been an excellent math teacher the past 2 years. Off the boards now for Wick. Taylor Lucas looking for some space, won't quite find it. Cuts back, and we'll send it around the boards. Flynn, first one there. Cloutier on the puck now.
That just no.
Cloutier? I don't know.
Cloutier.
Cloutier?
Cloutier.
I like Cloutier. Sounds more, angelic.
No, it doesn't. Chris Cloutier, one of the greatest attackmen in University of North Carolina lacrosse history.
Yeah, but is this person one of the greatest offensive attackmen in North Carolina history? I mean, it's just not the same person, Rob. Sent all the way down. Briella Doherty in hot pursuit of that puck, but she won't quite make it in time. And it will be an offensive zone faceoff for the Stags now, as the first line of forwards will re-enter for the Dragons, as will those 2 new starting defenders. Donahue and Parham take a breather. Taylor Lucas will send it off the boards. Now, Robert, does it say on the back of their jerseys, do we think it says Amos or AMOG?
I've been trying to figure that out. I can't quite figure it out.
I think it might be Amos. Because add me on Snap is AMOS. But I don't think that's what they're signifying with those 4 letters. Ledwick now looks for a little bit of space. She'll get it and she'll fire. Won't quite go. Countway collapsed in front of the net there. Trying to block the vision. I think it's Amos.
Yeah, Amos, of course, in Latin means we love, so I'll check Greek as well.
Pretty sure Cheverus is a school that teaches Latin. I have a couple friends that go to Cheverus, and of course, one of the players that played for my basketball team last year, Leo McNabb, did attend Cheverus and currently attends Catholic University in Washington, D.C. to play basketball. Excellent basketball player. Great guy.
Owen Walsh also attends Cheverus.
Owen Walsh attended St. Dom's last year, though. St. Dom's and then Cheverus. Very cool lineup of schools there.
Rest in peace, St. Dom's.
St. Dom's, of course, closed after last year due to, I want to say, a lack of funding, maybe? Do you know what it was? Do you know what the reason was?
Yeah, pretty much. There is a whole thing about how maybe they shouldn't have had to have closed. And it's a whole thing. Won't get into the politics here.
It's a whole thing right now. It's a whole thing that I don't know a whole lot about, so I'm not used here. Wow, that's a head of speed for Logan Curry. As a big save by Labonte. Great positioning, way to adjust there and, get in front of the puck.
Yeah, I don't love that shot selection by Curry there. She is probably the fastest skater on the ice between the two teams. Ledwick might be faster, but she did a great job to get that breakaway, and then she just floats a backhander on the near side pipe, and Labonte was already hugging that pipe and made a nice stop. But here's a goal by Curry off the feed from Townsend from the blue line, so she answers right back with another goal.
Yeah, so she avenges her previous mishap and brings the Cheverus total up to 3 on the night, and that is her second goal and 16th of the season. Wow. Strong season from the freshman from Wyndham. Wow, she's a freshman.
Yeah, that's pretty scary, Kaz. Of course, their longtime best player, Lucy Johnson, who is now playing Division I field hockey at Boston University or Boston College. I think it's BU. I think she's playing at BU. Also a fantastic hockey player. She scored 2 goals in that state championship against Brunswick in February of 2025. And so they need some young talent to fill that void, and here's they found someone in Logan Curry.
Yeah, I mean, it's 16 goals and 5 assists freshman year. That's strong. That's hard to argue with.
Cheverus has, of course, won the last 3 consecutive state championships in girls hockey, and now they have to try to do it again without Lucy Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, it's a dominant program. Do we know what their record is on the season, Rob?
They are 9-2-2 and first place in the South.
So not bad at all. That was a puck that came off the face mask of Evelyn Bogosian on the bench. She is their backup goalie, as she is a freshman, and Skolnikovich is a senior. Of course, the Dragons this year are missing the presence of Lacey Palmer in defense, who was their fastest skater. She was really an excellent defender. She won KVAC Player of the Year, or KVAC Player of the Year last year. And, they're missing that real element of speed that they had with her.
Yeah, for sure. Great senior class the Dragons had last year, as well as Lauren Labby, of course.
And Paige Botts, who did score one
of course.
In the
semifinal
against Yarm Freeport. Into the zone comes Cheverus. Logan Curry chasing it down. She'll duke it out with Sydney Parham. And, it's kind of unclear what's happening over there. There we go. Dragons come out with it. Parham did end up winning that. She'll find Countway over in the left side of things. Up ahead to Natalie Parham. It comes off her stick a little rough. And Cheverus is going to fall on it. It is Briella Doherty who sends it up ice. McCormick keeps it in the zone. She will backhand it. Vital lets one fly, and it will be frozen by Skolnekovic.
Kaz, last year, the first ever girls hockey game we did on Brunswick High Sports Network, I called with Brady Marzakis, and Cheverus, it was a Cheverus away game at Bowen, just like this one. And Cheverus actually jumped out to a 3-0 lead that game, and then Brunswick scored 3 straight goals to tie the game at 3. Cheverus would score the game winner to win 4-3, but they have a history coming back from down 3-0 against Cheverus and at Bowen.
You know, anything is possible, and I think the Dragons definitely have that in them this year. This would be a nice one to win for the Dragons, bring their record to 9-6 on the season if they come away with a victory here. Of course, 8-6 is a very solid record right now. If they lose, 8-7 is not bad. They will be above 500 either way, a winning team. And I think they are playoff bound, I believe. Yeah, Rob?
Yeah, for sure.
And once playoffs begin, anything is possible. Vital with a long-range launch that makes a pretty loud slapping of the boards, and they do call an offside.
Oh, it looks like it's going to be an interference. Actually, he made the call for an interference. Yeah, it's interference. It's number 3 in purple, Jaylee Radford, and we'll get our first look at the Dragon power play.
Dragons only had 4 skaters on the ice for a minute there, but now they will collect their 5th. As Levels by Avicii plays over the loudspeaker, one of the greatest hype songs of all time.
Yeah, Ethan's playlist is just great, and we hope that the Dragon power play will be as good as Ethan's playlist.
Yeah, of course, rest in peace to Avicii. He passed away many years ago. Not that many years ago, like 2019. He's a great artist, gone too soon. I believe he died to a drug overdose in Ibiza, which is an unfortunate way to go. At least he was in Ibiza, but obviously too young to be taken from this world. Dragons now on the attack. Natalie Parham bumps it ahead to Countway. Countway in the zone will smack it against the ref. Not doing herself any favors there. Already not one of the refs. Not making the nice list for Santa Claus in terms of the refs this year. It's a pretty, sandpapery way of saying that she is not the cleanest of the hockey players out there. Robert has been dumbfounded by this analogy of mine. As we will see Logan Curry into the offensive zone now. She'll let one fly from maybe a bit ambitious on the shot decision there from Curry, but not a lot else to have going on there. She will duke it out with Vital. She wanted a foul. She won't get it. Penalty, I guess is the word. I know, that was kind of Eben with the soccer touch call out. That is correct. That was a nice little cheeky Maradona touch there. Just keep the puck in play, and we're going to see it frozen by Skolnekovic and an offensive zone face-off coming for the Brunswick Dragons now.
Yeah, just 41 seconds left on that power play, which of course you can tell thanks to our scoreboard sponsored by Singer Domingos Portside Real Estate.
Dragons need to start getting some shots on net here. They've had a couple good ones. In the great words of Chris Smoove in 2017, I'm wide open. I'm going to let this fly. I think that's the mindset they need to be approaching this game with. Any shot is a good shot.
Yeah, the special teams have really been dominated by Cheverus so far. Their penalty kill has really not allowed a quality shot on goal so far by the Dragons, and of course they scored 2 power play goals of their own. So special teams really been won by Cheverus, and they lead 3-0 because of it.
Yeah, 3-0 is, of course, it's not ideal. All right, Robert, what was that song? These are all good, and I somehow don't know any of them. What was that one?
It's Peace of Mind by Boston.
Right, yes, I knew that one. That was your on the Wicked Seniors 26, that was the song that accompanied your post.
That's exactly right. That's just some great Robert Bowen ball knowledge by Kosinski.
Thank you very much, Robert. Bit of a toss-up over there. Scrum with Countway and Parham at the middle of it. And they are flying back now, the Dragons. Curry was a little open there for a second. Her shot won't go. Labonte gloves it, and the Dragons live to see another day here.
Yeah, that's Labonte's best save on the night. She goes pipe to pipe to stop Buxton, who had an open right side of that net.
Pipe-to-pipe save is always impressive. You know, you got to be agile, you got to be moving. And Labonte shows a nice piece of goalkeeping there. Goaltending. Face-off won by Cheverus. Labonte with a big save. Joey Pompeo to Curry. Curry back to Pompeo. Pompeo cuts in, cuts out. Guarded by Flynn. She will knock it up to Doherty. Doherty back down to Pompeo. And once again, we're going to see it back on the stick of Doherty now. Over to Grace Townsend. Townsend finds Logan Curry low. This is the back up to Townsend, who will let it fly. Won't exactly succeed, though. Parham hits the deck, but Pompeo backhands it into her. Doherty centers it, nothing. Curry rounds the net. Curry with some maneuvering. And this has been a pretty pass-heavy possession as Donahue gets the clear and Cheverus has to get out, but they quickly get it back in before really Brunswick giving it a chance to breathe. Shot stopped by Labonte. Hayra Jerome exits the zone now, bumps it off the boards to herself. And she bumps it into the offensive zone now and chases it, but Doherty will win the foot race there. I guess the skate race is a better word.
I'm fine with foot race, personally.
Yeah. All right, that's good. I'm glad that Robert is not deeply opposed to that. That makes me feel a lot better.
That's just a great poke check by Vital. Curry, of course, has 2 goals. She's the top offensive threat for Cheverus, and great job by Vital to stop that rush, but Curry with another chance.
Robert, I think, is it possible that on just a pure defensive skill level, Vital might be their best defender?
It is possible, yes.
I think she consistently is making, big 1-on-2 stops, big defensive poke checks, just all kinds of stuff. She has a couple times where she's a bit ambitious on taking it out of their own zone, but I think for the most part she's a pretty solid defender.
I would agree.
Now scooped up by Titus around the net. I'm gonna say, some of these Cheverus names are super cool. I mean, Angelina Valiente, Joey Pompeo, those are
Ashley Cloutier.
Claudier, I guess, is how we're going to go ahead and pronounce that one, Robert. And James Salco and Michael Shoemaker now. They look to round the net. Here comes Shoemaker. Shoemaker brings it in close. I'm, of course, commentating the people walking behind us, but Jerome with a big stop, and she will send it long, and it will be an icing call. Good defensive clear there from Jerome. As we will see a new line come in for the Dragons with Donahue and Parham in the back court, and the front court led by Ledwick with Countway and Parham there as well. James Salco now enters the booth. James takes a seat. He'll set his stick down, look to adjust, opens a Howie's toiletry bag as he smiles. Dragons come the other way. Bumped off the boards. Countway now centers it. It was a good look there for the Dragons. Ledwick scoops it up at the back, looks to find a bit of room to shoot. She will. Just a bit outside. Parham back on the puck now. Down to Countway. Countway behind the net. Donahue cannot keep it in the zone, and the Dragons are going to have to get an offensive reset. Michael is observing the Golden Gem grapefruit I brought. I have already eaten one of them. They are delicious. You cannot have it, Michael. I know what you're thinking.
Don't want.
You may not touch it. Okay, fine. You can touch it if you want. And sent long. Parham now. Michael observes that the grapefruit is squishy. Excellent shot. Won't go for the Dragons. That's a great look, though. I think the Dragons, right now they are starting to look a bit stronger on the offensive side of things. Maybe building up to a fourth quarter ramp rush in an attempt to the third period. Man, when I'm commentating basketball and hockey, every other day, it just all of a sudden quarters and periods just don't seem like that much of an important distinction to me.
Speaking of basketball, mark your calendars now, folks. Friday night, 7 o'clock, the Dragons travel north to Camden Hills to play against the number 1 in Class A North Camden Hills Windjammers, who have Nolan Ames, the top basketball player in the state. Mark your calendars, 7 o'clock Friday.
Robert, Santa Claus is coming to town. Dragons enter the zone. Ledwick, shot won't go. Long tried to dump it in. Nothing will come of that. Ledwig gets a change. Here comes Logan Curry, the Stags' leading goal scorer, as she enters the zone. Back on Curry in front of the net. And she...
Oh, what? That somehow didn't go in, Kaz.
I don't know what just happened, Robert.
It hit off the post and got trapped underneath Labonte, who froze it. Unreal. I heard the uproar from the Cheverus faithful and thought that meant it went in, but it did not. Wow.
Good, solid stand there by the Dragons. That's good. Going down 4-0 would be brutal. Thankfully, they don't, and it will just result in an offensive zone faceoff for the Stags, which is better than a goal. And Vital looks to clear, but Logan Curry is on it, and Vital will send her into the boards to the delight of Carter Copeland. Now, Joey Pompeo couldn't make any magic happen. Vital comes the other way, up to Long. Long with a long pass over to Flynn, but Flynn was unexpecting. Doherty enters the offensive zone, centers it to Missoula Long of the Dragons, who fans on the first attempt. Taylor Lucas rounds the net. That was not very good by Taylor Lucas. Centering shot won't go. The Dragons come out unscathed from what could have been a bad go of things in that third or second period. Robert, give me your breakdown.
Yeah, still a 1-0 period win by Cheverus off the lone goal by Logan Curry, assisted by Grace Townsend. That's Curry's second goal of the late afternoon and 16th on the season. The Dragons will trail 3-0 going into the third, just like they did last year. When I called that game with Brady, they came back, scored 3 straight goals.
And for some good news here, Countway and Parham stayed out of the penalty box this period.
Wow.
Which is excellent. It means Countway's total will not come up to 18 on the season in terms of penalties, which is...
We don't know that quite yet, Kaz.
Well, she's at 17 right now. I said it will not come up to 18.
Well, we still got a lot of game left.
That's true. I didn't think about that. Okay. Well, we're going to go ahead and call it there. We'll see you guys back here in 11 minutes and change. Kaz Kosinski and Robert Bowen on the call. Eben White operating the scoreboard and the camera. Wow. Let's go, Eben. Thank you very much. We'll see you guys shortly.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our third and final period of action at Bowdoin College on Brunswick High Sports Network between the Brunswick Dragons and the Cheverus Wyndham Adomic Stags in the Dragons' final home game of the season.
Yeah, been a relatively strong season so far for the Dragons. 8-6. It's been a winning season. Couple rough losses, couple big wins, as you know all seasons go. But a chance to cement themselves as a strong playoff team here tonight if they can pull off the comeback win.
It is a 3-0 lead for Cheverus. They scored 2 goals in the first period, both on the power play, and then one in the second period. Logan Curry scored that one to make it a 3-0 advantage. We do have Eben White on our camera and our scoreboard, sponsored by Singer Domingo's Portside Real Estate, Kosinski and Robert Bowen on the call. We'll see if the Dragons can will themselves a comeback here against the #1 team, either in the state. They are #1 ranked in the South, and possibly the best team in the state in Cheverus.
Yeah, a huge shout out to Eben White, obviously doing the 2 jobs of one man. Doing both jobs. What's the whatever? He's doing twice the work that anybody has ever asked to do here at BHSN, and I'd say an achievement worth shouting out. Absolutely.
Titus along the back wall, hit by Countway. Back to Titus now, pressured by Ledwick. Parham gets the steal for the moment, and now will collect, giving up to Countway across the ice, looking for Parham.
Dragons need to get momentum early here. They need a Ledwick laser. They need something. They need to get on the board soon and start building this comeback.
Here is Townsend looking up the ice for Buxton. Buxton will knock it out, but it's taken away by McCormick, who loses it to Radford. Radford leaves it back for Titus. McCormick steals it back for Brunswick. And McCormick up ice too far for Countway. Townsend will look to collect, but it will not be an icing.
Yep, lucky there. No icing call, but it may not matter as Chev begins to accelerate up the ice anyway.
Here is Sophia Tricky, and now back to leading goal scorer Logan Curry. Curry has time and room, will find a nice pass to Tricky on net, leg pad save by Labonte. The 2 freshmen from Wyndham. 2 freshmen from Wyndham, Curry and Tricky. Here's Jerome in the zone. Wide right of the net. Lucas up ice. 1-touch pass by Pompeo to Curry. Collected by Tricky. Battle along the blue line still. Lauren Livesey up ice. Lauren Livesey, any relation to Ryan Livesey in the box?
No, I think that they have the same last name, but I believe that they are not related. I believe we've gone over this before.
Guys are rolling.
Shots on goal being counted by Ryan Livesey are led by Cheverus, 21-13. Hey, Sam Jensen. Of course, the boys hockey from Brunswick Freeport will be playing right after this. We have a doubleheader here on MLK Day. They'll be playing against the co-op of Gardner, Winslow, Lawrence, and Richmond. Buxton has it stolen by Ledwick. Ledwick looking for Countway. Ledwick will steal it back in the neutral zone. With speed, will cut back. She's open from the circle. Fire save made by Skolnekovic, and she'll freeze it.
It's a big save by Skolnekovic. It's a good look by Ledwick, though, to try and get the Dragons on the board. They need one ideally before 7 or 8 minutes left.
Parham up against Titus. One by Parham back to Ledwick. Ledwick will get underneath Townsend. Ledwick will spin, kicks it to herself once again. Wins the puck back along the back wall, centering pass to Countway on net and scores! The one-timer by Countway through the 5-hole of Skolnekovic, and it is 3-1.
The dragon has been awakened. There's one thing you never do, and that is awaken a sleeping dragon.
Countway has the second most goals on the season for the Dragons behind Ledwick. She has 8 now. Ledwick records her 4th assist on the season.
Dragons need a big defensive stop here. Have the Stags go, 3 and out, and then carry down the other way, march down, and pop one in.
McCormick along the back wall. Has it stolen by Curry. Curry loses the puck. Will hop over McCormick. And now a chance with Natalie Parham. She will be hit by Doherty. Here's McCormick up ice, caught by Ledwick. Ledwick will put it on net, saved by Skolnekovic, and it goes into the netting to force the offensive zone faceoff.
I mean, why not let it fly? That's a great shot there. It's going to win the Dragons an offensive zone faceoff.
I believe we have switched away from the Ethan Patterson playlist now.
Yeah, I don't mind this one so far, honestly. Thrift Shop and Paris. These are 2 good songs, good songs.
A chance here for Titus in the slot. Titus on net, save made by Labonte, and she'll freeze it. A clutch stop.
Muy bien. The music is taking a whole new direction now. I don't know what we're on to here. The first 2 were both banging, but this one is kind of a little underground something or other.
Parham will win it back to her twin sister, Sydney. That's going to draw a penalty on Titus, knocking Parham into the boards, and the Dragon power play will have their second opportunity. Oh, separate ways by Journey. That's some great stuff. Okay, back in the good graces.
Roll Wick, baby, roll Wick.
Separate Ways by Journey, of course, heavily featured in Season 4 of Stranger Things.
Yeah, I have not watched even 5 seconds of a Stranger Things episode, so I would not know.
Here's Ledwick. As Brandon Ware does join us, he'll be filming that next game against Gardner Winslow. Eben White will finish out this third period. And maybe we'll get some overtime if the Dragons can scrounge a couple goals. And here's a chance, centering pass to Countway. Can it trickle through? It's still alive. Somehow it got through the 5-hole of Skolnekovic, but couldn't find its way into the back of the net.
I mean, Dragons are definitely, they're knocking on the door now. I mean, there's one thing I'm always saying. I wouldn't want to be behind the door when the Dragons come knocking. That's something I've always said.
Here's Townsend along the back wall. Will look to clear, and I think this is going to be another. It's a delayed penalty. This might be against Brunswick. It's an interference on. Will it be on Vital? Yeah, okay, it's against Vital. That will be her 8th penalty on the season, and that kills the Dragons' power play. So they will fall to over 2 on the night on the power play, with Vital into the box for interference.
So we're going to have, unfortunately for the Dragons, 1 minute and 4 seconds of 4-on-4, and then about a minute, a minute and 4, and then we're going to have about a minute of Dragons shorthanded hockey.
Yeah, that's pretty brutal. That's a pretty brutal penalty there, Kaz. They had that great goal by Ludwig to Countway, and then they came a few inches away from scoring on the power play right there, and then unable to put it in the back of the net, then getting a penalty to wipe out the rest of the power play. And now here, 4-on-4, still trailing by 2.
Curry with a wraparound dribble there. That was something you don't see all that often. You know, it's pretty common in basketball, but hockey, whole different beast.
Ludwig collects in the defensive zone, looking up the ice for Countway. Makes the nice catch, makes a nice move on Lucas. Countway into the zone, but loses it, taken over by Cloutier.
Yeah, nice takeover from Cloutier there. Of course, to stop Dragons' attack, and now Dragons are down a player as they'll play shorthanded for 42 more seconds.
Just great scoreboard management by Eben White to get that power play up on screen for you guys. Ludwig will look to clear along that wall. Lucas will collect in the neutral zone and wait for her team to clear to avoid the offside. Here's Buxton, pressured by Saavedra. Cheverus power play is 2 for 2 on the night, and they will have an offensive zone faceoff and 19 seconds to try to make it 3 for 3.
We're not going to say anything because we've announced or jinxed too many situations like these. So I say we just go quiet until the faceoff is taken.
Pompeo against Saavedra will lose the draw. Karam knocks it towards Flynn. Lucas keeps in the zone for Cheverus. And now it will be cleared with just 10 seconds to go on Vital's interference minor. With speed, though, comes Logan Curry into the zone. Makes a nice cut into the slot. Fans on the shot. And the Dragons do kill the penalty.
See, Robert, if we had said something there, she wouldn't have fanned, and she would have just sent that thing to the top Ched. And that would have been no bueno.
Aram will clear. I believe that will be an icing as the puck will slowly roll to that red line. And it will be an offensive zone face-off for Cheverus.
Redlining, of course, is something that you can do to your car's engine if you don't want your car to run anymore. It's not recommended by me or
BHSN in general.
Or any mechanical experts, really. I think actually, you know what, we're going to go ahead and say most people would probably not recommend doing that.
Pompeo versus Parham once again. Won by Parham to Countway. Cheverus gets it back, though, with Doherty towards the net. Wide. Parham rims it around, kept in the zone by Townsend. No, she did not actually. Spoke prematurely. Doherty in the defensive zone, looking at the ice. Ludwig will knock down Tricky, and now collect in the offensive zone. Ludwig, high slot, she'll fire. Saves Skolnikovich.
That's a good look from Ludwig there, but at this point in the game, that one needs to be in the back of the net if the Dragons want to come ahead here. Skolnikovich with a big save for the Stags.
Yeah, those are the golden scoring opportunities that they need. Parham will win the faceoff. Countway looking to set up that tie-up play again. The puck does eventually get to Ludwig, but that is the go-to face-off play. Tie-up, Countway comes in, pass back to Ludwig in the high slot. They'll try to get that going the next time that they have an offensive zone face-off with the first line, I would assume. Buxton there to Parham. Knocks it around. Countway centering pass to Parham. Couldn't get the clean shot off, but now she does. Save made Skolnikovich. Here with Ludwig now. Ludwig centers it to Countway. Parham will knock it. McCormick cannot keep it in the zone, but the Dragons retain possession. D to D to Parham. Parham looking for Countway. They'll just rim it around the offensive wall. Pass by Doherty. Collected now by Titus for Cheverus. Doherty will look to clear again, and that will trickle through. I believe They will let it be an icing. I thought it might have bounced off a dragon, but no.
It's good news for the Dragons. An offensive zone faceoff is a prime opportunity to bin one. I would like to see Solveig Ledwick on the ice here. I think she's the best shooter they have, and it wouldn't be a bad idea to, bump it back to her and then just fling one into the back of the net.
Won by Livesey is the face-off. Townsend will knock it back, looking for Lucas. Livesey now stolen again by Lucas. Lucas into the zone, gets around. McCormick will fire, and it's stopped by Labonte. She's played a great game today, Kaz.
She has had a great game today. 3 goals scored on her are really not objectively our fault. It's they've been all pretty wide open looks for Cheverus, and at the varsity level in most high school hockey, open looks result in excellent placement of shots, and therefore really not the goalkeeper's fault.
A chance though for Curry into the zone. Curry will look to trickle it through the 5-hole of Labonte, but cannot. Makes another nice stop on the Cheverus Stags leading goal scorer.
Great example there from Labonte. Just closed up all the angles. Curry didn't really have a lot of space to go, and ends up just shutting it down.
Parham again to take the draw up against Bailey Radford, the sophomore of Cheverus. Won by Parham. Stolen by Titus. Titus centering pass. Punched out of harm's way by Labonte. And now here's Parham back to Radford. Donahue tries to clear, kept in the zone by Doherty. She'll send it back around. Puck pinned in the corner against the skates of Parham, and Buxton finally gets out. Ledwick off the wall for Countway. Kept in the zone though in a collision, but a chance now for Ledwick skating. We'll find Parham across the ice. Cheverus gets the puck back with Doherty. Parham collects in the defensive zone, just 3 minutes and 45 seconds left to work with. Up ice, nice pass. Caught by Ledwick. She'll put it on net, save Skolnekovic. Up ice for Curry. Parham will collect. Parham will try to wall off Curry.
Dragons with just over 3 minutes here. There's 2 things that they need. They need to not concede a penalty, and they need to score a goal like now, like yesterday.
McCormick sends it wide. Countway along the wall will send it wide of the net as well. 3-1 was the score of the last Cheverus win over Brunswick back in December. And that is, of course, the score it is now.
Of course, an offensive zone faceoff here could disrupt that possibility, as they will go to their second line of forwards, but they do have the towel on as a defender, who is very solid on the long shot.
Livesey will win the draw, but it's collected by Townsend for Cheverus. Buxton knocking up the ice. Vital out of harm's way. That would have been a nice 2-on-1 chance with Titus and Radford. But now here will be a 2-on-1. Titus, the nice move. Back to Radford. Will fire. Blocker save by Labonte.
Dragons come away lucky there. Vital with a nice, Labonte with a nice stop in the net to save the Dragons from certain doom.
Livesey will allow Vital to collect. Vital up the ice. Lucas collects for Cheverus. They lead in shots on goal 27-15. The Dragons' next game is against Greeley. New Gloucester, is it? Or let's pull up our schedule here. They end with 3 away games. We do know that much. It will be Greeley, New Gloucester, then Edward Little, and then Yarmouth Freeport. 3 players hit the ice. 2 for the Dragons. That puck just squirts wide left of the net.
Now that is an interesting move there by McCormick to slide tackle Sidney Parham so that Logan Curry hits the ice in result of Parham's tackle. It's like it's a domino chain, but you can't. The ref's not going to call a trip on McCormick tripping Parham, and then Parham unintentionally hitting the ice and wiping out Curry. So that's a high IQ move there by the Dragons.
Usually intent does not matter towards a tripping minor, but in that case it did. So that was a nice savvy play. Battle along the wall. Labonte will be pulled, so the Dragons will get a 6th skater on.
We are lucky enough to now have Nat Rathbone joining us as a guest. Let's turn to him actually. Nat, do you have anything to say?
Hello, Brunswick High Sports Network. It's great to be here. Boys game coming up. Tune in. It's going to be awesome.
We will be here with the boys hockey game immediately following this one. There are only 44 seconds remaining in the third period here. The boys looking to put together a win to avenge this doubleheader and make it at least a 1-1 evening for Brunswick.
Yeah, I believe Cheverus called a timeout to try to set up their 6-on-5 as Cheverus, whereas Labonte was pulled. The Dragons have 6 skaters on 5 and will look to score 2 goals in 44 seconds. I think it's pretty clear that the game plan going to be trying to win the face-off, get the puck to Ledwick in the high slot, and take a shot and try to beat Skolnekovic. And I have to imagine that Cheverus knows that and will be trying to A, win the face-off, and B, get out to Ledwick's hands as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be really helpful if Brunswick had Tracy McGrady on the ice right now. Of course, he did score 13 points in 35 seconds. So with 44 seconds, Tracy McGrady could probably make this 18-3 in favor of the Dragons, and that would be that'd be curtains.
Shots on goal led by Cheverus, 28-16. Has been a good game here today, Kaz. The lone goal by the Dragons here in the third period, as Ledwick found Julian Countway a one-timer to get it through the 5-hole of Skolnekovic. So really, the only goal that the Dragons have scored has been from the inside with a quick one-timer. Skolnekovic has allowed nothing in from distance, and that's probably the type of shot the Dragons are going to look for here. It's a longer distance shot by either Ledwick or Mattel. Here with just 44 seconds left in a 6-on-5. Face-off one back to Ledwick. Ledwick trying to get her hands free. She will round behind the net. Here's Parham. We'll look up for Vitale and will miss the pass. And Vitale and McCormick will have to track it down. Vitale walls off Titus to avoid that empty net goal.
Dragons, Vitale setting up shop in front of the net, attempting to mimic the movements of Hensley Labonte in order to prevent an open net goal for Cheverus.
Here's Ledwick now. Bounce it off the boards. Just 5 seconds left, and I do believe we can call this here a back-to-back Cheverus has won 3-1 over the Dragons in both of their meetings here in the regular season, and will advance to 10-2-2 on the year. The Dragons fall to 8-7.
This is just going to make the playoff win over Cheverus all that much sweeter. I mean, I think the Dragons are going to meet them in the playoffs and win by 4. It's a way too early prediction there from Kosinski. Robert, what do you think?
Yeah, I think we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves. Of course, that was a fantastic game in the state championship last year between these two teams. A 2-1, 3-2 overtime win by Cheverus, the game winner by Carolyn Rousseau, who is now playing at a private school. We looked it up last time. Don't remember where she's playing, but
Pennsylvania?
Scott Rousseau is still here, and his team has defeated the Dragons 3-1 for the second time this year. Kaz, I think we can go ahead and award our stars of the game. I'm going to go ahead and hand my first one to, well, 2 Stags had 2 points. I think I'll go to Logan Curry first. Had 2 goals for Cheverus. Really, of course, her second goal was the game winner, as it turned out.
Yeah, going to give my star, I'm going to go for a Brunswick here. Hensley Labonte. Strong performance in the net. Obviously, a lot of saves. A lot of saves from situations that could have been goals pretty easily.
And for my third star, actually, no, Eben. Eben, come give your third star of the game. It's up to you. That's who I would give it to, but it's all up to you, of course.
I think I'm going to give my third star of the game to number 10, Grace Townsend on defense. Just all around lockdown defense today. Really just helped the Stags hold Brunswick to only 1 goal today. And, that's hard to do, and not many teams have done that yet this season. So she'll get the star for the day.
Yeah, I would agree, Eben. Of course, Townsend, the lone Madomic player for Cheverus. That's a long drive. Madomic is really nowhere near Cheverus or Wyndham.
Yeah, we're being quite honest, it's not even close. Why did they put Madomic in with these teams is a mystery.
I guess that Grace was the lone girls hockey player in her school, and they just said, hey, Grace, you can play for any school. It's all right. And she was like, I'll play for Cheverus.
I'll play for the best team in the state.
And she came in and scored a goal and had an assist. So I do respect that decision by Grace Townsend. She gets our third star. This boys hockey game will start in 25 minutes. We thank you all for joining us here on Brunswick High Sports Network. Eben White on the camera and the scoreboard, sponsored by Singer Domingo's Portside Real Estate. Kosinski and Robert Bowen on the microphone. We'll get us back here in 25 minutes. A new stream will start for that boys hockey game. We'll get Brandon Ware onto our camera. Thank you for joining us. Cheverus wins 3-1.